A lot of people stop believing that hard work pays off because they expect to be paid immediately. That's really what it comes down to. They go to the gym for a month and expect to look different. They study for a few weeks and expect to suddenly know everything. They start a project and expect people to care. Then, when none of that happens, they start questioning whether the effort is worth it. The problem is that most things worth having take way longer than people think. Nobody gets frustrated when they plant a seed and it doesn't become a tree next week. Everybody understands that takes time. Then they go expect the rest of life to work exactly like that. People are strangely patient with nature and very strangely impatient with themselves. They look at a tree and understand it needed years. They look at their own goals and get angry after 3 weeks. The truth is that hard work feels useless for a very long time. That's why so many people quit. If results came instantly, almost nobody would stop. Imagine if every workout gave visible muscle changes immediately. Gyms would be full all the time, not just at 5 p.m. Imagine if every hour studying instantly made you smarter. Everyone would do it. Imagine if every business made money within a week. Everyone would start one. The economy would be ridiculous. The delay is what gets people. The work happens now, the reward shows up later, sometimes much later, unfortunately. And while you're waiting, it can genuinely feel like nothing is happening. That's where people make mistakes. They think nothing is happening because nothing is visible. Those aren't the same thing. A person who reads every day is changing even if they don't notice it. A person who changes every day is changing even if the mirror doesn't show much yet. A person who practices a skill every day is changing even if they're still making mistakes. The changes are happening whether they're exciting to look at or not. Most of the work that matters is really boring. That's another thing people don't like hearing. The movies make it look like success happens during one big moment. Real life is usually the same thing repeated hundreds of times. One workout, then another. One practice session, then another. One page read, then another. One day, then another. 1 week, then another. 1 month, then another. People underestimate repetition because repetition isn't interesting. But repetition is where almost everything comes from. People underestimate repetition because repetition isn't interesting. But repetition is where almost everything comes from. The funny thing is that people will look at someone successful and ask what the secret was. What was the fastest way to get to where they are now? They expect some big answer. Some special moment where everything changed. Most of the time the answer is disappointing. It's the same that everyone else says. They just kept doing the thing. Not every day was perfect or productive or even good or positive, but they kept coming back to it. That's what people miss. That's what you're missing, idiot. A lot of success comes from staying around long enough for the work to actually matter, to add up. Think about how many people start something with a lot of excitement, with the motivation. January comes around and everybody has goals. Everybody's motivated, everybody's ready to change their life. Then a few weeks pass. At most, the excitement is just gone. The work starts feeling normal. The results still are not there. And that's when they leave. The problem is that they leave right before the work starts having a chance to actually add up. They spend all their time planting seeds and none of their time waiting for anything to grow. They put in 3 drops of water and think, why the fuck is it not growing? Then they start over somewhere else. New goal, new plan, new idea. Fucking same outcome. A few weeks of effort followed by quitting. Good job, man. Then they wonder why years pass without much change at all. The people who make progress aren't always the people who work the hardest on a single day. A lot of the time, they're the people who avoid restarting. They stay with something long enough for all those small delays to become something bigger. That's why consistency gets talked about so much. Not because it's exciting, but because it works. If somebody trains for 10 years, nobody cares what happened on a random Tuesday 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they showed up thousands of times. People focus on individual days way too much. A bad workout, a bad week, a bad month. Fuck it, a bad year. That's more rare, but it happens. In reality, one bad day usually means almost nothing. If you're going at something for a decade or for the rest of your life, one bad year is, yes, it's a full year, but it's just 1 year. What about the 10 years? The 20? It's ridiculous to focus on such individual time frames and things that just did not go your way. The person who keeps going is still moving forward. The person who quits because of one bad day isn't. There's a much bigger difference than the bad day itself. Another thing people don't think about is how hard work changes you, even before it changes your results. Someone who trains regularly starts becoming the kind of person who trains regularly. Someone who studies every day starts becoming the kind of person who studies every day. Someone who works on a skill every day starts becoming the kind of person who takes improvement seriously. That adds up, because eventually the habit becomes part of who you are. You're no longer forcing yourself to do it every single time. It's just something you do. And once you reach that point, staying consistent becomes much easier. A lot of people want the result without becoming the person who gets the result. They want to be in shape. They don't want to train. They want the money. They don't want to learn shit. They want success. They don't want to work for it. Unfortunately, those things usually come together. You don't get one without dealing with the other. That's why hard work will always have value. There will always be things that most people are unwilling to do for a long period of time. There will always be people who quit early. There will always be people who are looking for shortcuts. And because of that, the people who stay consistent will keep separating themselves from the people who don't. Not overnight, not in a week, not even in a few months. But give it enough time and the gap becomes obvious. That's why people say that it's lonely at the top. Because there's barely anyone there. Not because it's really hard to get on the top, but it's because nobody's willing to go there. People think hard work pays off all at once. Like one day life suddenly decides to reward them. Most of the time it just doesn't happen like that. The payoff usually starts small. You know a little more than you used to. You're a little stronger than you used to be. You handle problems a little better than you used to. You have a little more experience than you used to. Then those small advantages start stacking on top of each other. A little becomes a little more. 1 cent becomes 2 cents. You know? Then a little more, and then a little more. And years later, people look at where you are and act like it happened quickly. Oh, you just got lucky. Shut the fuck up, lazy ass bitch. It never feels quick when you're the one doing it. You remember all the days where nothing seemed to happen. You remember the days where you questioned whether the effort was worth it. You remember the times where quitting would have been easier. That's why people who actually work hard rarely talk about luck as much as everyone else. Do you know how much time went into getting where they are? They know how many boring days were involved. They know how many times they had to keep going without seeing much in return. At the end of the day, hard work pays off because most people stop. That's the part nobody likes hearing. People imagine they're competing against geniuses. against people with perfect circumstances, against people with unlimited talent. Sometimes those people do exist, but most of the time you're competing against people who simply gave up. People who got impatient, who got distracted, people who convinced themselves the effort was not worth it. The longer you're willing to keep showing up, the fewer people are left standing next to you. And eventually what looked like talent from the outside starts looking like a lot more like years of effort that nobody wanted to see. If you're still watching, I appreciate it. I can't force you to subscribe or leave a like or leave a comment or share or anything like that, even though that's something that would help what I want, and I'm gonna continue to do it whether you do those things or not. But look, the more you work for something, the more time you spend in the game, and the less people there are in front of you who are still in the game. People end up quitting at one point or another. The further you go, the less competition you have. Like, actually, that's how it is. I'm talking so loud because I'm just like, I know that's how it is. I know it. I can see it. I feel it. I wasted so much time not doing shit, but look at me now. It's hard work pays off, man. Don't listen to nobody who tells you otherwise. Fuck them. Peace.